everyone, and welcome back to the official YouTube channel of Lightway Research and Technology Center. If you have been working with data in SPSS, I want to assure you that one of the most important steps that you must take before running any analysis is checking for errors. So in this video, I will walk you through a few quick and easy ways to check for data entry mistakes, missing values and outliers in SPSS. So if you have your data set with you, please grab it and let's dive in. The first thing you need to do is to launch your SPSS. So to do that, I will switch to my SPSS now. So to launch your SPSS, you can just type IBM in the search bar. Then once you locate it, you click on it once. The package will come up. And once it come up, you'll be greeted with this page. And this page has two fields, the data field and the variable field. Please, if you want to know more about the SPSS interface, please, you can check through our channel. You will see one of our videos on SPSS interface. So once you have your SPSS opened, then you need to load your data. So I want to make use of, don't forget we are checking for errors. So I want to make use of one of my recent files. SPSS training 2. Okay, I will load this data now, so we are going to use it for our training. Okay, let us assume we have this particular data and we want to check for errors in this data. So I want to quickly make a few adjustments so that you can understand what I will be teaching you in this particular video. Okay, yes, this particular work file is ready. So once it is opened, the first thing you need to do is to switch to variable field. This is variable field. So you switch to variable fields, then you make sure you check through the properties of your variables. So for instance, we have how many variables here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the first one is identifier. So next is you check the type. All the variables there, they are numeric. So if you see anything like strings, then you need to adjust this. But in this case, we are fine with the setup. Then the next important thing to check is to check through your labels, whether all your variables are properly labeled or not. For instance, the first variable is identifier, followed by employees, education, tribe. So if you notice any mistake here, you are expected to correct it before moving on to the proper analysis. Next to that is the value. So you need to check whether you enter the right values for all the variables. So for instance, for education, you check through, then the same thing you do for tribe, you check through. Once you click on the 3 dots, it will pop up a new page. Then for religion, for gender, you make sure you check through everything. In case you have issues with the coding, then you are expected to also do the correction. Another thing that is very important is the measure. For continuous variable, you are expected to select a scale. So if you did not select the right measure, you must ensure you do that before you proceed with your analysis too. We have 3 different measures. Those are the key ones: the scales, the ordinal, the nominal. Scale is for continuous variable like age, weight, height, and so on and so forth. Ordinal is used when there is an intrinsic difference between the categories. That is when the categories of the data of the variables we are looking at is ordered. For instance, agree, strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree, and agree. Those categories are ordered, so you are expected to put them in order. You cannot say strongly agree then disagree. No, it should be in order. So that's why we pick ordinals. For also for education, in this case you can see we have primary, secondary, diploma, first degree, second degree. This also, these categories too are ordered. You cannot say second degree primary. No, it's not possible. Of course it may be possible, but it doesn't make any sense. So you must ensure that your codings, everything is set normally. So for this type of variable too, you pick ordinal. But in a situation whereby you can arrange the categories anyhow, for instance tribe, you can say black white, white black, Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa. You can arrange it anyhow. So in that case you are expected to pick nominal. Also for gender, you can say male, females, female, male, Christian, Islam, Islam, Christian. Those ones are ordinal. Yeah, sorry, nominal. That's why nominal is selected for gender, religion, and so on and so forth. For productivity is a continual variable, so we are expected to choose scale. So once you check this and you notice that there's an error, then the best is to make sure you select the right variable. Another important thing that you need to check for is missing values. So to do that, you need to go back to data field. This is your data field. Then you check through if there is any value that is missing in your data. You know, here we have just 50 observations, but it's possible that you have about 20, 2,000, 3,000, 1,000 observations. You may not be able to check through one after the other like I'm doing here. But if you have a very small sample size, you can just check through. For instance, we have missing value here. Here too we have missing value. Here too we have missing value. You understand? You can just check through like that. Then once you notice that this value is missing, then the next thing is to trace the case. That's the 10th questionnaire. Then you go back to your questionnaire, you look at it. Okay, for employee, is this data really missing? If yes, you leave it like that, or you attach a missing value to it, to all the missing values in your data, or you can leave it like that, because SPSS can also undo missing value perfectly without any issue. So now if you have like 20,000 observations or 2,000 observations, the best thing that you need to do is to make use of frequency. Please take note that when you have missing value, you can either exclude it, you can replace it, or you can leave it the way it is. You understand? You can replace it with the actual data in your questionnaire, or you attach a missing value to it. Also, you can just exclude it or leave it the way it is. So if you have like 1,000 observations or 2,000 observations, if you are dealing with a very large sample size, the best way to detect mixing value is to go through the analyze method. So you go to analyze, then you select descriptive statistics, then from there frequency. Once you click on this, these are the variables. So what you do next is to move all these variables to here. You can move it one after the other, or you can highlight everything then move here. So once you do that, you just click OK. Don't forget, when I was taking you through the SPSS interview, I told you that there's also an output window. So once you click OK, an output window will come up, and here we have the summary of all the variables. We have how many variables? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you can see that we have one missing value here, no missing value here. Here we have one missing value as well, no missing value here, and here we have another missing value. So from when you make use of this particular method, you will be able to know the values that are mixing, whether 1, 2, 3, or 4, and so on and so forth. So you can check through everything. You can just go down, then you look at it. Okay, education. You can see now that there is a problem here. There's a category that we did not add in our coding in the properties of our variable. So we have to go back. This is an error. This shouldn't be 6. It should be PhD. We have primary, secondary, diploma, first degree, that's bachelor, second degree, that's master's, then the next is PhD. So this is an error. So we need to go back and make that correction. Let's check, maybe there's another error. Okay, mixing value. This is a mixing value. Here too, this is also an error, and this is out of place value. This particular one is out of place because we have just 2 categories there: Islam, Christians. What is 7 doing there? So that particular value is out of place. You can describe it as out of place value. But what is necessary is that we must go back to our data and make all those corrections. Let's check the last one. Okay, here too we have 1 mixing value. Now we have identified all the errors. We have identified all the mixing values. Don't forget, another thing is out of place. This one is out of place. In case you may want to know what is out of place, what I mean by out of place is a value that is not related to others. Here we are expected to have 0, 1, if I'm not wrong. Let me check. Okay, religion 0, 1. Yes, 0, 1. But here now we have 7. This 7 is out of place and is an error that must be corrected before doing proper analysis. So you can either go back to your questionnaire, check the value, then you change it, or you recode, or you can also recode it. So another error that I also want you to check before proceeding with your analysis is outlier. Outlier is always an issue in every data set, and when you have an outlier, you can either remove it or leave it. So once you confirm that, okay, this is an outlier and the respondent is key to your in your analysis or in your data set, you can just leave it and continue with the analysis. The only thing is that when you are discussing your data, you can just highlight that particular issue towards the end of your paper or in the conclusion, or you just identify it as one of the limitation of your paper. But before you even move to the analysis proper, you must check whether there is an outlier in your data set. And to do that, you need to make use of box plots. We call it box plots. And to do that, you just go to graphs, then from graphs you go to legacy, then you select box plots. So once you click on that, you see you just choose simple, then you select some summaries of separate variables, then you click on define. Okay, now outlier is always an issue with continuous variable. So now, how many continuous variables do we have here? Employees and productivity. Employees and productivity. So let's move those 2 variables here. Then next, you click OK. So here you have your outputs, that is the result. Okay, if you look at it very well now, for employees, there is no outlier. The values, the data is perfect, so there is no issue of outlier. But when you look at productivity very well, you will see that there is an issue because there are some numbers outside the range. This is the range from here to here. So any numbers that fall here is normal, is a normal value, but anyone outside this particular range is considered an outlier. So, but for productivity, you can see we have how many outliers? 1, 2, 3. We have 3 outliers. So now you can go back to your data and check whether those values are really outliers. For instance, here we have case 21. So let's go back to our data set and check case 21. This is case 21, and you can see now this is a very big data. 7.0 is an outlier. It's actually an outlier because we have values between 0, you can see 0, 0.8, 0.7, 3 is still okay, 0.9, 0. So now this 7, because it's bigger than others, that's why it is considered an outlier. Now let's check the second one. That's case 4. Case 4, let's go back to our data set and look for case 4. Look at case 4 too. It's also what? 7. So it's considered an outlier. Let's check the last one, case 34. You check too. Those are errors that you need to look at for. Case 34, sorry. Case 34, is it an outlier? Yes. So anything above 7, anything 7 and above, any value that is 7 and above is considered an outlier in this particular analysis. So you have identified the problem. That okay, these are the problem. Missing value is a problem. Also, we notice that here there's a value that is not coded. Yes, under education there's a category that is not coded. It's also a problem. So those are the errors that you need to look out for, that you need to check and address. But in this particular video, we are only looking at checking for errors. In the next video, I will take you through how you can clean your data and also to treat data entry errors. Okay, another thing that is very important that I must show you is how to quickly do a descriptive check. You know, you need to run a quick descriptive check so that you will know, or so that you will be able to spot any impossible numbers. Descriptive check will give you minimum, maximum, as well as the standard deviation, but you should look out for minimum, maximum. So now for employment, for employees, we have this. For education, what the maximum should be 6. So if you see anything like 7, that is a weak number, that is an impossible number. For instance, for tribe, now if you see anything like there are 2 categories, and these categories are 0, 1. So if you see anything like 2, 3, those are impossible number. So now let's quickly do a descriptive check. To do that, you go back to analyze. After analyze, you pick descriptive. Then instead of frequency, you select descriptives. Now just move all the data to here. Descriptive is mostly used for continuous data. Please take note of that. Descriptive check for continuous data and a frequency for categorical data. But for here, let's just use descriptive for all the variables and see how the results will look at. You can see this is descriptive. Now we have employee. The minimum is 1, the maximum is 34. And we have how many observations? So there is 1 missing value. For education, we have 50. The minimum is 1 and the maximum is 6. For tribe, there is also 1 missing observation. The minimum is 0, the maximum is 1. Correct. So if you see anything like 2 here, that means there is an issue. So that means that is what? An error. Now for religion, look at it now. Religion is coded 0, 1, but here we have 7 maximum. That means it's an error. So as an analyst, you are expected to correct that before moving on with your analysis. Another thing is gender. Okay, gender is correct. Productivity, also we have the maximum as 9.0, which is also 9.0 is also considered an outlier. So what is very, very important here is that you need to look at your minimum as well as your maximum. You check for minimum, the maximum, and you compare it with your, you have your code book. For instance, for religion now, you coded, it is, religion is coded 01. You have your code book with you. You just check, okay, what is the maximum in my code book? 1. Oh, why, what is 7 doing here? Then you take note of that. You go back to your data and your questionnaire, you compare the two, and you make the necessary correction. So this check will help you or save you a tons of headache later. So if you find this helpful, please give it a thumb up and subscribe for more SPSS and data analysis tips.